wage was designed to be a livable wage. Like, this is not difficult information to find. And yet people still cling to this idea that their job's just for teenagers. Like, I literally had a woman in my comment section the other day say something along the lines of, so what, you're telling me you want my 17-year-old who lives at home but works full-time to still make a livable wage? Yeah? Why don't you want that? But here's the thing as well. If you honestly believe that minimum wage jobs are so unnecessary and so unvaluable to society that they don't deserve to make a livable wage for their labor, you should not be utilizing any service that is provided by minimum wage workers. If you do use those services, like pretty much all of us do, then you should agree that fundamentally they deserve to be paid more. Otherwise, this is what you're saying. I recognize that this is a service that I use many times on a regular basis. I get value out of this service that I take from your labor, but I don't want to pay you for that labor that you provide. The entitlement of that train of thinking is out of this world. Purposely trying to devalue workers even as you exploit them is not a good look.
Did it not occur to her that her 17-year-old son probably won't be moving out without a livable wage?
You cannot demand a service while simultaneously degrading those that provide that service. If you need it, it has value.
This is how I would make the minimum wage a livable wage. I would reverse the fuck out of Reaganomics. Just like the air didn't trickle down to the billionaires trapped in the submarine, money is not trickling down from the wealthy to the poor. Poor people should not be paying a higher percentage of their income in taxes than rich people. Tax the rich. I'd put salary caps in place. The CEO of McDonald's made $10 million in 2020, which is over 1,000 times the median compensation of his workers. That is unacceptable. Salaries would have a cap, no more than X% than your lowest paid employee. If you want to make more, then you have to increase the wages of your employees. And if you can't afford to pay your employees a livable wage as a business, then you do not deserve to have a business. I would put price caps on things and go hard, crack down hard on price gouging. Then I would give a gas X to the military budget to alleviate that bloat. There are several other things I would do, but that's what I would work on first.
There should be a flat tax of 10% for everyone. That's fair. There should be a wage maximum at $150,000 a year. No minimum wage.
Make a law that CEOs can only earn 10 times the lowest paid employee. Our minimum wage would skyrocket.
Newsflash, most jobs don't take any skill. You get put in an office, you learn the job, boom, you just sit there and type all day. You go to a factory job, you sit there and assemble all day. A lot of jobs don't take a lot of skill. You just go in, do your job, and get paid. That's why everybody deserves a livable wage.
It's true. We should be paid based on energy used instead of skill in a perfect world.
If it was energy-based, then jobs like being a doctor would be extremely unworth the time. It should be based on how replaceable a person is.
The phrase livable wage is starting to sound like nails down a chalkboard to me. I'm so tired of people in my comments saying that servers and bartenders should be paid a livable wage. I want to see all the servers and bartenders and sit with me making a thriving wage.
No. You have zero value in the real world. It's not my problem. The best you have to offer is bringing food and drinks to people.
These hospitality workers should receive at least minimum wage and non-taxable tips.
They do thrive. In addition to not paying taxes on their cash tips. Most bartenders make more than the managers.
Have you ever had Wendy's breakfast? Oh, it's so good. Unfortunately, I guess we have to get rid of it since all the employees will, be in school. What about when you get late night munchies? Guess you have to eat leftovers at home since all the employees have curfews. Do you like alcohol? 'Cause I really do. But if all these low-skilled jobs like grocery stores, gas stations, and restaurants are ran by high schoolers, they can't serve you. This mentality is problematic for a number of reasons, but the main one being it just doesn't make any sense. If you don't believe that people deserve a livable wage, just say that. And I don't know where y'all are from, but I'm from Appalachia, and a majority of families live below the poverty line. So a lot of kids that were getting jobs in high school, it wasn't for extra gas money. It was because they needed to help support their families. And call me crazy, but I don't think high schoolers deserve to be exploited either. And these multi-million-dollar franchises have more than enough resources to pay their employees a livable wage.
If your employees have to rely on government assistance to live, you should not be allowed to have a business.
Stay with me, guys. You can't have billionaires without worker exploitation. Let's work together to eat the rich.
I was delivering pizza during the pandemic and was deemed essential. No hazard pay, no raises, no compensation. All for nothing.
You're so close to the point. Like, so close. I would be asking myself, if we're arguing about what the amount of a livable wage is or what UBI should be set at, and you're not making that amount of money working, you should be asking yourself why.
I'm interested in UBI. As a stay-at-home mom to a disabled child, would I be able to get UBI? I'd like to work, but I can't afford the nurse I'd need to go.
Yes, you would, and so you should. Taking care of a disabled person is a valuable service to society.
So, UBI comes in, people quit to collect. Employers can't get staff, so forced to increase wages, which then raises all the prices.
We will be taxed at least 30% on that. It's basically a loan that we will be required to pay back the following tax year.
So make it tax-free. Advocate for how you want it to work.
Minimum wage, a livable wage.
This person is living in a single apartment by themselves. They cannot afford to live off of, I think, $13.85 an hour right now. Rent is just too high.
What do you think a good minimum wage should be? Should there even be a minimum wage?
I think a good minimum wage would be 15. I think all the companies should just try to go as low as they can and not even try to compete, because I know people don't like paying workers for what they're worth.
We need to lower the cost of living, not raise wages.
There should not be a federal minimum wage. It should be city by city based on minimum living standards, one-bedroom apartment.
Some of the newer generations are on their work ethic, but there's a lot of people that, we got to be balanced, we got to work. It's just not the same work ethic.
Gen Z does not lack work ethic. Late-stage capitalism does. Y'all just have been lied to about what work ethic actually is. You think it means, you love to work and you work really hard. No! An ethic is a moral principle, okay? So work ethic is a moral principle about work. Yes, you're following. Good job. The definition of work ethic is literally the moral principle that hard work is intrinsically virtuous or worthy of reward. Let me just say that last part again. Worthy of reward! Okay? That's what Gen Z and millennials have been saying. That is all we preach all the time. 24/7 is work ethic. We work 40 plus hours a week. Some of us work multiple jobs. We bust our asses and we believe that our hard work should be rewarded. And no, we don't want a trophy or a little employee of the month pin. What we want is a livable wage. Okay, but the problem is that the wealthy CEOs and the billionaires who some of us work for, they don't value work ethic. They refuse to reward hard work. Nothing about becoming a billionaire CEO to a company where the majority of the workforce is living paycheck to paycheck is ethical or concerned with ethics in any way. Every finance bro's favorite platitude to throw around is don't work harder, work smarter. And by smart, they mean be cunning and be manipulative. Okay, that's the billionaire motto. Find a way to make other people do the hard work for you and find a way to pay them as little as they will allow, and then you keep the profit made off of their hard work. This is the strategy of every CEO of every billion-dollar company. This is not an opinion. This is a fact, because not a single person to ever live would ever be able to amass $1 billion without abiding by this strategy. Okay, the literal cheat code to being successful under capitalism is to not value work ethic. They want to make you think they value it so that you work hard and they don't have to pay you. But to have work ethic means that you believe in the ethical principle that the hard work of your employees should be appropriately rewarded. And in America, people are not being appropriately rewarded for their hard work. Millions of Gen X, Millennial, and Gen Z Americans are working 40, 50, 60 plus hours a week, and they can't afford to feed their children 3 meals a day, okay? That would never happen in a society that values and prioritizes work ethic, okay? It's not work ethic that Gen Z and Millennials lack. It's submission and self-hatred that we lack, and y'all hate to see it.
Our reward in December was a potluck. So we had to make food on our personal time and bring it in.
I think the term work ethic just means how much will you let a corporation manipulate and use you.
Another great reason we should be unionizing wherever we are and in whatever industry we're in, regardless of what anyone says. Because we are the only way the things will get better for ourselves.
Your average household income in America right now is $77,000. 15% of that saved from age 30 to age 65, 35 years at 10% is $3.6 million. So if I'm half wrong, you're going to be okay. Oh, and by the way, let's look at the assumptions on this, okay? This person makes an average household income, and for 35 years, they did not get a raise.
Yeah, but then you're 65 freaking years old and most of your life and youth are gone.
Don't start living life until you're 65 is what I hear.